Hey everybody, it's Coach and I got Cruiser in the car. It's the Coach and Cruise podcast and live stream. It is a Friday night and it's January 16th, 2026. It's our second show of the year. Haven't have we ever done one on a Friday night, Cruise?
No, this is our first one, I think.
There we go. So we got Cruz who's worked a long day and he's on his way home. And so you won't see him. You'll see his top of his car in the dark. So, but we got cruising with us, so that's good. So, why don't you let everybody know what's going on this weekend, Cruz?
Yeah, we got our trip to Reno starts tomorrow. We have like 25-ish people going up to Reno tomorrow to watch the divisional round playoffs. Super excited about it. It was a long week of work, but I somehow made it through, and I'm gonna go home and get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day for the sports world and for us. So I'm excited, man.
So, Cruiser lives in Hollister area, which is not that far from where he works in San Jose. But tell everybody how you're getting to Reno tomorrow.
Well, normally I would drive, except for the last 2 weeks up until like 10 days ago. The roads were closed, so I fly. So I will be on a jet plane at 12:45 tomorrow p.m. To go see my family and my friends, and
Does
pretty
that
nervous about pretty nervous about tomorrow's games. But I mean, it is what it is. It's what we got, so we're gonna go with it.
So how long is that flight? 45 minutes?
It's 41 minutes. Is about generally what it is. If I could go back now, I could probably drive there. But I booked my flight like I don't know 3-4 months in advance. So yeah, we're just it's been a long week, but we're ready to get. Tomorrow's gonna be a great day. My family is from Buffalo, so the Bills game starts at 1:30, and then the Niners game's at 5. So pretty excited.
So let's jump into all that. Are you a little bit worried? Bills at Broncos.
Yeah, I
Weather's
mean,
probably okay. It's probably cold, but probably not too bad there. But what are your initial thoughts of that one?
I'm riding the Josh Allen train, so I just think he'll get it done. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really difficult for the Bills, but I think this is the first time Josh Allen's been in the playoffs without Patrick Mahomes and Burrow. So if he's gonna win one, this might be the one to get. And so I'm riding the Bills big time.
So yeah, I mean, I think that teams that are coming off the bye have advantage for many reasons. The Bills have been not as good as they've been for whatever reason. I haven't followed them too much this year, so I don't know if it's they're not scoring a ton or their defense is giving up whatever. But it seems like they're a little bit vulnerable too. And Denver's kind of playing out of their mind. But how good is Bo Nix going to be? Is it his first playoff game?
Yeah, my thing is I don't think offensively they're that good. That's what I'm sort of banking on. It's gonna be first of all, to play in Denver's tough, but
right,
to play against Josh Allen is also tough, no matter where you play. So I'm assuming it's going to be a tough battle. Probably be I think it's going to be like a 3-point game. Can can Josh Allen do it late? So I'm so excited about tomorrow's games. Like tomorrow, more than Sunday's games, because the Niners play at 5. Obviously, I'm like really like I want to watch the 1:30 game and the 5 o'clock game tomorrow, because I think it might be a prediction of the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Ooh, are you willing to book that on the old podcast to?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this to a lot of people. I thought that the winner of the Buffalo Jacksonville game was gonna represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, so that's why I still think that way.
Right.
And so that's what I'm going with. Yeah, and then tomorrow night we got Niners Seahawks, which is whew, very nerve wracking, but I think we're gonna get there.
So before we get to that, I'm just looking at ESPN. You could look at a million different websites to figure stuff out. These 4 guys that are doing the story on the Buffalo Denver game, they all have the Broncos winning pretty much like you said by like 3 points or so. The spread's like currently right here. It's like 1.5. So, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe my take would be that the Broncos haven't been there in a while. I don't care if they're the number 1 seed. Bills are kind of salty for how these years have gone recently. I mean, if you're looking at that,
Sure.
I think Buffalo wins. Obviously, the way Denver's season's gone. I don't know. I mean, I've kind of like Buffalo just because of what you said without Mahomes, and they've been, I don't know. I think the time is right for them to. I also think that there's something to playing last week, even though the other team had a bye and is rested, right? If Buffalo comes in and starts hitting them in the mouth and doing all that stuff and just kind of setting the tone and jump on them, not necessarily scoring a ton of points, but if Denver can't do anything on offense and Buffalo gets like a 10-point lead, it could be over. One of those kind of things where they just don't let them get into the game. I don't know. So, that's the way I see it.
It's tough. I mean, not taking anything from Denver's good, dude. Like,
yeah.
But like, if you really were to look at the last like 10 number 1 seeds in the AFC, I think Denver is the most gettable team that's around.
Right.
So if you're gonna beat the 1 seed, maybe tomorrow might be, especially for Josh Allen. I think that's the game that they could get. If they're gonna get it, then this is the game.
Right. Well, and like there's a lot of things there with the with Bo Nix not having played. There's a lot to that. I feel like even though they're at home, a bad turnover or 2 could be an issue. It seems like Buffalo's issue is run defense. So, yeah, like you said, I think it'll be a good game. I think there's good coaching.
Plus, Denver does not run the ball well. Like they don't run. Like traditionally, they're not a very good run offense. So, I mean, they might run the ball well tomorrow. I mean, most teams run well against the Bills, but I have a weird feeling about Josh Allen, dude. I don't know, man. I have a hard time betting against a guy like that.
Well, I think there's also a situation where Denver's kind of a primarily man defense, right? So besides the receiver matchups, you make a mistake with the quarterback and you don't spy him, or he breaks containment and Now you got that giant horse off to the races, and he could be a
Yeah.
difference
Well, don't forget
in every
that the
way he
Bills
can
are,
do it.
yeah, the Bills also run the ball very well. Not with Josh Allen, but like James Cook, leading rusher in the NFL. I think there's something to be said. Like they're going to try to run the ball, right? And Pat Surtain, very good, man. They're very, very good man-to-man defense. But when you play against Josh Allen, it's kind of sort of different, you know. So I'm
Right.
interested to see how that all goes.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one. I think that starts off. That's the appetizer before Saturday's main event for us, at least. Niners at Seattle. Niners season has been crazy, injuries everywhere. Um, just right off the top, before we get into matchups and stuff, like what's your initial feeling? I mean, we talked about it a couple nights ago, but I don't know if anything's changed. What are you initially thinking about Saturday
Well,
night? And
I think initially, well, the Sam Darnold thing is kind of strange. Um, People say it's not a big deal. Well,
they
it
keep
wouldn't come up
talking
on
about
the
it,
injury
right?
report. It's a thing, dude. It's a thing.
Right.
So can we? Two things: can we stop the run, and can we put pressure on Sam Darnold? Who, if you do put pressure on Sam Darnold, he will turn the ball over. There's no doubt. So, you know, I think in the best of all worlds, it's a close game. Um, do the Seahawks have a chance of blowing us out? I think they might. But if it is
Right.
close, be careful. Um,
Oh, for
I
sure.
don't think I don't think I don't think Seattle wants to play us. I can tell you that, and that's
Well, I
very
think we. I think we were just about to talk about this a couple nights ago. Like Seattle came in and kicked the living shit out of the Niners at home a few weeks ago,
yeah,
and if you're not like, I don't know, I just in general, if you get punched in the mouth, like as a human being, you got to retaliate, right? And so you get a chance football wise to retaliate
sure.
and especially in the playoffs, like and the way they went to Philadelphia and punched those guys in the mouth. There's the Niners. We've talked about it. We talked about in the summer. I think the weaknesses that they have that we talked about in the summer when we were heavy podcasting are still there, yet somehow we're managing to get by. Uh, even though those weaknesses are, there's light shown on those every week. Um, but
Yeah. Well,
come playoff
well,
time, a
the
lot of
idea
that you
is
could throw
this.
that out there, right? You could just
Yeah,
if you put up
the idea is this. Right. We are never going to be more healthy than we're going to be tomorrow. Right. Trent's playing. It looks like you know, like
Winters,
uh, Winters is playing. I mean, we're not healthy, right? So, but we're still in the spot. Pearsall is going to play, I guarantee it. So, I'm not saying we're like really healthy, but we're as healthy as we're going to be, right? So, um, I honestly, everybody thinks, and I was at work today, and they were like, "Oh, Seattle's going to kill the Niners." I'm like, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
yeah. Well, I think I'm looking to see. It says 7 hours ago, Pearsall says he's quote pretty confident he'll play.
Yeah, he's playing. He's
Um,
going to play.
sure. Um, I mean, they need all hands on deck. I just think that I think this game is, like we said a couple days ago, they know each other. Obviously, division opponents. I think the X factor is just. I think it's going to be it could be like a classic game, in my opinion,
Sure.
because because of the scenarios, you have a team that's rolling on a bye, you have a injured, everybody's injured, that whole story. They don't
Mhm.
like each other. And just the fact that if you keep the Niners around, they have just enough special teams. The
Yep.
kicker's been good.
Mhm.
All those things. And so, I just think I think the biggest thing that I'm going to look for right out the gate is how loud it gets in the stadium, how Purdy
Mhm.
handles that. And, hopefully they did what they needed to do this week to manage getting lined up right and not burn timeouts in dumb
Sure.
situations. Yeah, it's funny how I think the last couple of weeks the Niners, Purdy's headgear is it seems like he's pointing to his helmet a lot and can't hear and all this other stuff. Like you would think that they'd go back old school somehow, give him a wristband with the play and just like point to the wristband and be like play one, or whatever, like do something to get him a
Sure.
call instead of having him look at the sideline like he's, I don't know what to do, and timeout, or whatever. It's like you're the
Well, I think
NFL, like come up with
for us to,
contingencies.
for us to for us to win, um, McCaffrey's going to have to have a big part of that. In years past and games past, we turned it over twice with Purdy last week. I don't feel like he's going to turn the ball over at all.
Okay.
And I think you'll find out a lot about the game in the first quarter. If we look like supremely overmatched, then maybe
Right.
we might get killed. You know?
Well, I think we talked about it. The Niners. It's weird. Like I thought Philadelphia could have ran the ball on us more, um, and stayed with that, and they didn't. And then Seattle's a lot different and could just hammer us, and it could be over early, like you're saying. I just think if they run the ball for big chunks, we're in trouble. I mean, I don't think they stop running the ball and they continue, and then that makes Darnold
Right.
so much better because he's.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole oblique thing it's a thing.
No,
So
I know, but again, if I think they're going to rely on the run more, and all he's got to do is, fake the run, play action. Again, if they're I don't know. I'm curious how it's going to be. There's so many games within this game, and it's going to come down to, more, in my opinion, more will than like skill. Obviously,
yeah,
in the
yeah.
sense there's obviously
I think
skill, but
I think it's funny. I think Seattle's very good, but I will tell you this: you can say whatever you'd like, but Seattle does not want to play us, man. I mean, we know them really well, dude. That's like that's like the one caveat, right? Like we know the Seahawks well, and
right,
we just played them, so I don't feel like we're going to be as inept as we were like in the first half of
right,
the game we played, and so I don't. I mean, it's funny to me because a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, they're gonna blow our doors off. Well, maybe, but if the Niners can just keep it close early, and if we look like pretty good offensively, meaning we score some points early, that's where Seattle is in deep trouble, like deep trouble. And so that's why I look at the game.
right. Yeah, no, I think that uh, it's gonna be things like individual matchups, you know, that who whatever side of that wins, the O line for Seattle and the running backs versus the front of the Niners, it can
Sure.
that could that right there be enough for Seattle to just win it? Is it going to be that Seattle's defense, which is good, has to kind of stop a lot of weapons that, you know, we're getting at least one of them back, and you know they stuffed they stuffed the run. I think the
Yeah,
biggest thing I noticed last time
we against Philadelphia, we could not run the ball. Like, we couldn't run the ball.
till they got a little bit in the second half. They got a little bit going, which was really helped with the clock. But I think Seattle stuffed us so bad. And the other thing Seattle did, I was telling my boys, you know, they tackled as soon as the ball. They absolutely had stuffed our yak. You know, anytime a ball was caught
yards up
for 3 yards, it was
Sure.
like the guy got tackled hard, whoever it was, and
I sort of felt like that against Philly though too. Though, like, they were pretty good at that against us. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
they were.
and the thing is you gotta figure out how to get guys the ball when they're running, so you can get that. And you know, you got to remember Seattle stuffed us after we had scored 3 straight games and 40 points. So I know the Niners didn't look that good, but I think that my concern is that was because Seattle was that good on defense versus us.
Maybe so. Plus, remember Trent didn't play, so I think that's a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Trent Williams is a pretty good left tackle. So,
right.
I still
no,
think.
And
I still think.
I'm bringing all that up, but
we're gonna try. We're gonna try it. There's no doubt, because
Right.
we want to run the ball, dude. We want to run the ball.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna try to do it. But to me, it's like this game. If we're inept enough to, you know, be good enough defensively, it's a Purdy game. You know, we're gonna have to drop back and pass. You know, is Purdy good enough, which I don't know, to do the things he needs to do to win the game? And so, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that we needed to really look at the film from the last game, because the game we beat them week one, that's like too far away. 2, that was a lot closer than the score was. You know,
Sure.
I felt like the close game the Niners had versus Seattle wasn't really that close, because they weren't going to let us score. So winning by 10 points felt like winning by 6 touchdowns. So I feel like kind of what you said earlier.
But if Brock Purdy completes the pass to McCaffrey in the flat, which normally it's a slam dunk, and we score that touchdown, so it's 13-10, we're not that far off, you know?
Right.
And that's the way I look at football. You know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like that would have been, it made it interesting. I felt like that kind of thing happened versus Seattle, but we actually made the play versus Philadelphia, because they're very similar games. And I think that Seattle's offense is very similar in kind of like Philadelphia, because, you know, for beating the Niners and it feeling like it was a blowout, they only scored 13 points against us. In the first game,
we were
10 or something like that.
We were texting during the Niners Philly game, and you said to me, we seem different, like we're not ready. Well, the problem is, and maybe you're right, in my opinion, when it comes to playoff football, just do what you have to do to win the game. And I was telling my friend Martin, shout out Martin Alvarez, I was telling him while we were watching the game, like, they can't put us away. And I would have run the ball down our throat. Like, I would have continued running. I thought Jalen Hurts should have had 15 carries. I thought Saquon Barkley should have had 35 carries. If you do that, then you probably win the game, right? But
Well,
they
you just
chose
don't.
not to go that route, and because of that, it hurt them, right? I mean, fuck.
Yeah. Well, and I think I told you I was telling my wife, Amy. Shout out to Amy. Um, that it was 13-10 and Philadelphia kicked the field goal. I said if they scored a touchdown, they weren't going to give us enough time. But when they kicked the field goal, there was more than enough
Yeah,
time for the Niners to score and then have to hold them on defense.
right.
But I was
Yeah,
just like,
because everybody knows, everyone knows if you're up at like 10 points, you can just straight up, if you and you run the ball effectively, you can milk tons of clock, like half a quarter kind of clock if you're running the ball well. And then, so that was kind of one of the things, the reasons why we were still in it was because of that.
yeah,
And then my friend Dustin Majewski, who's a huge Cowboy fan, texted me at halftime and said, "I promise you, the Niners will outcoach the Eagles," and that's like they're like notorious for that. Now I don't watch them like that.
right.
I watch them play just as much as I watch anybody else play, and you know, it's sort of he was sort of right. Like, like hell, like
Yeah.
they couldn't put us away, so why shouldn't we be in the game?
Well, and
And
here's another thing. I feel like when you talk about coaching, we've been hard on Shanahan, even though he's been really good over the years. People talk about
mhm.
his good year that he's having, coach of the year, because of all the injuries and stuff. You know what my hot take is that he's finally coming around to going for it on fourth down more and realizing
Yeah, I
that
mean,
when we get the first
we've talked about this.
down, it's huge for us.
Yeah, we've
And
talked
if
about this for eons, years. Like I
yeah,
always thought that Shanahan was good, like scripting, right? First half scripting, all good. We look good, and then out of halftime, we seem like we're lost. I sort of feel like that's the difference. Like now he's sort of figuring out, like, okay, well, in the second half we got to make adjustments, right? Because you do, and I feel like he's sort of done that. And
right.
so, I was
Well,
I was sort of. I think we were both anti. I mean, I want to say anti Kyle Shanahan. How could you be anti Kyle Shanahan? But I mean, if you look at like the small details of stuff, I was sort of anti Kyle Shanahan, and to be honest with you, now I sort of am not.
right. Well, I think part of it, and I don't know, this is tough to say, but like when you have all these injuries, especially when they happen during the game, all of a sudden you're calling plays that were meant for Kittle and they're going to somebody else, or you realize they're
Sure.
still taking McCaffrey away and you've got to throw it to somebody else. And those people
Yeah.
are making plays. That to me, it's kind of like hockey. They talk about having like four lines, especially in the playoffs. You want to hockey games, they have four lines. And if your first line is scoring all your points, then the other team just hammers those guys because they know that nobody else is going to score. So now,
Of
if in the
course.
playoffs for football, you have secondary scoring, you get the Robinsons of the world catching long passes and touchdowns and stuff. Like that's huge because the other team's not expecting that guy to be a factor, and he steps up. And so that to me is playoff football is getting, having confidence to throw. We don't have the Ronnie Bells of the world dropping wide open
Oh,
passes. And do you know what I'm saying? Like
sure.
the guys that are being called on are doing the Tonjes of the world, the Luke Farrell, the tight end
Sure.
guys. You're going to see a ton of those guys this week.
On the
Um,
play that we scored our last on the play that we scored our last touchdown, it was like a in to
right,
McCaffrey on like the 5, and they
right,
were talking to Trent Williams, and they said, "Well, Trent, you were holding on that play." He goes, "Well, if you're speeding on the freeway and you don't get pulled over, it ain't holding." You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's sort of the way it is. I mean, right? I mean, you're not going to catch it all, right? You're not going to catch every single penalty that needs to be called. We get held all the time; it doesn't get called, right? So, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They it's almost like in poker, a chip in a chair. I sort of feel like that's what we're doing. But the funny thing is, I mean, all the people that think that the Seahawks are going to absolutely blast us, I have a hard time believing that, you know?
Right. Well, I don't believe it. I think it could happen. It just because of things that go sideways, and that could happen with any game. But like you said, I don't think it will. Um, I just know that I remember with the Super Bowl in 2012 against the Ravens. Weirdly enough, I think the first play of the game, Vernon Davis dropped a pass. They threw him a wide open, like 30-yard pass down the sideline. He was
Sure.
wide open, and he dropped the ball. And I turned to whoever I was watching with. I said, "They're losing the game." And it was the first play of the game. And the reason I said that is because if you're not ready to catch the ball in the Super Bowl when it's thrown to you, like playoff football, it doesn't matter. It happened to be. I said, that mentality, even though it's one guy, that's going to seep into everybody else. So going back to what you're saying about early on, it's going to tell a lot. I agree with that. And not that has to stay that way. You need your team leaders to break you out of, anything that's happening to you. And I think that's been the Niners have been better at that when stuff hasn't gone their way. They just haven't packed up their tents. And that's
because of what we've been dealt with. I think a lot of it has to do with what we've been dealt with, right? I mean, we've dealt with a lot of injuries, and it hasn't gone, according to plan. But maybe that's the reason. Maybe sometimes it's good. That's kind of my point. I think getting Pearsall back is really important. Like, people don't really talk about Pearsall so much. He's a great. If you watch Pearsall run routes, he's a great route runner, and so you sort of have to, like, cover him. And so maybe because they have to do this, maybe other guys are open because of Pearsall. I've always been. They still haven't done it yet. They've sort of done it a little bit, but like, I would not mind seeing McCaffrey in the backfield with Brian Robinson, with the threat to run the ball, and then you just send McCaffrey out in the flat and let him run routes as a receiver, because then at that point you can kind of sort of do whatever you want, right? I mean, do we have Kittle? It sucks. No, we don't have Kittle, but I think there's some stuff out there that we can go get, and that's why I think I told you this. The first game we played them, it was 17-13. The last, it was 13-3, 45 total points, and the over/under is 45. You know why? Because we're gonna score. I think we're gonna score in the 20s. I honestly, in my heart of all hearts, I think the Niners are gonna be able to score points.
I think that you have to. I think. I don't know. I think that playoff games that are super low scoring, I'm all for defense for sure, but it's like, you if you're legit, like, I mean, here's a crazy one, and I don't think this will happen, but if the Niners blow out Seattle, sometimes it's weird the other way. But I feel like
it can go that way. Yeah.
And I just feel like getting ahead, I feel like whoever gets ahead, if like by a lot, let's say 2 scores, maybe even 3 scores, though, you would think that would be enough. I think the other team comes back. Whoever, pick your side, whoever gets out in front.
Sure.
Just because it's playoff, And especially like I said, with the way the Niners have been playing, they have the kind of the San Francisco Giants vibe of the World Series deal. The torture stuff and the you know
Yeah,
a bunch of ragtag guys that nobody really knows and refusing to lose. Right? I think they.
sure.
I don't know if part of that is having the Super Bowl at your home stadium. Um, but I think the biggest part of it is like you got to think they're talking about the fact that all their best players are hurt. Look at what we're doing with all you other guys. Everybody's writing us off. We're heavily underdogged in this one. Just using every angle to, we have no chance. And if you're not driving that home that you guys are supposed to lose, just pissing them off even more than they already should be pissed off. You know,
Sure.
so
Guys that
I feel like
maybe
they're gonna ride
maybe
that.
would guys that maybe wouldn't make an impact are going to have to make an impact, and so maybe they will make an impact, and maybe we are so far off, and we're going to get killed. But I just, I said this. I think I told you the other day. Uh, the Bills, who are playing first, I said this very adamantly. Whoever won the Bills Jacksonville game, I thought would represent the AFC. And I was watching the game at home, and Josh Allen's like tush pushing and goes 9 yards right to the goal line, and
Right.
then they score. And I look at Gabby, and Gabby goes, "Well, they still have a lot of time." I said, "Well, this is where Trevor
Right.
Lawrence, who's had a great season, this is where he makes mistakes." And sure as shit, the next fucking play, he
Mm-hmm.
throws the ball into coverage. Like, I feel like Sam Darnold is Trevor Lawrence. And so if we can get in that like area where we make him like force a ball
Right.
to, I think we can get him. I think the Niners need to turn them over at least twice. If we turn them over twice, I think we have a legitimate shot of. I know we're Niners fans, and I get it. We talk about this. We're potting about this, but I honestly feel that way. Like, if we can make them turn the ball over, then we have a shot, dude. We really do have a shot.
Well, I think that all the factors of winning a playoff game, stuff we talked about, and then the turnover thing, that you have to. That's what made the Niners having 2 turnovers and Philadelphia having none kind of an anomaly, right? You don't lose the turnover battle and win the game, especially in the playoffs. But
Yeah,
that's where
never in the
Philadelphia
playoffs.
screwed up.
Never in the playoffs. The recipe for winning is make them turn the ball over more than you turn the ball over, and then you generally win the game.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean,
That's
because
kind of
normally that gets everyone so fired up, and even if you just get a field goal or kick a couple field goals, you're taking the time off the clock, you get the extra possession, and if you score, it's a bonus, and that stuff's a killer. So that's, I think, not going back to Philadelphia too much here, but that's where they screwed up. They couldn't capitalize, and they didn't take advantage of
yeah,
having the ball more times and bleeding more clock, especially with they were basically leading the whole game, but it never felt safe. I would think
no,
if I'm a Philly fan, I'm like nervous the whole time, and it ended up being bad for them. Um, so anyway, I just think that's a key. I think I didn't think the special teams were great last week. The conditions were crappy though.
yep,
They weren't terrible. They weren't terrible, and so I think that'll rebound it. I like to see Sky Moore, get something out to at least midfield on a
yeah,
kickoff at least once or twice. That'd be great. Um, I think he's been really good. That's been a great pickup for us.
yeah.
And then
I think we
obviously,
talked. I think last time we potted, or maybe the time before, I was really nervous because we traded for Sky Moore, and I felt like the first like 7 or 8 weeks of the season
Right.
and he was back there, but he really didn't like do anything.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, and I think I even talked to you, like, what? Why did we trade for this guy? And
Right.
now, like, fast forwarding, 7 more weeks, I think he's been integral to our success. I mean, he's been so good, and I think it's
Yeah.
really smart to put B Rob back there, because
Right.
these guys can, get you to the 40-yard line, the 45, right? Because it makes it, you know, tons easier to score when you're on the 40 going in, going out, than on a 12 going out, per se. So
Somebody's just got to make sure that he's not fair catching punts at the 3 yard line now.
yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. I was losing my mind. Um, there's rules of thumb, right?
Yeah, easy. That one's an easy one.
Yeah.
Um,
But
well,
I think what was it? What game was it where he returned the opening kick like a long way? I
oh, that
forget
was
what
a
game.
long time ago. It was like
Yeah, it was
the
like
Houston
seven
game
weeks
or something.
ago. Yeah, and it was like, whoa, okay, well, now I guess Sky Moore is ready. I don't know. And now, to be quite honest, now they're putting him in like that was a jet. So the the,
Right.
the play for McCaffrey was set up by them running the jet sweep the half before
Right.
to Sky Moore, and Kyle Shanahan said, well, we have to run it from the right hash because if I jet sweep it to the left, that means Jawan Jennings gets the ball to the right, and then he's right-handed, so he has to go from the right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, kudos. I mean, that play, to be honest, it was actually a bad throw because he's supposed to
Right.
put the ball on. He's supposed to put the ball on him because I mean, there's nobody around, right? You don't want to lead
Right.
a guy that's wide open. Um, but yeah,
Well,
that's
that
Jawan Jennings got 2 touchdown passes in the playoffs.
and that the catch by McCaffrey was amazing, and I don't know if he gets enough. He got a lot of kudos for that, but that was easily like a wide open drop, just because. I mean, he lost sight of it over his head for sure. He just put his hands up where he thought it was going to be, and then it ends up sticking in there. And
Yeah,
so that was a huge play. I remember just listening to Brady make his sounds like because he saw McCaffrey get open. I knew it right away when the corner kind of squatted down, and then he just threw it, and but then it just was like I kind of felt like after us scoring, I just didn't think the Eagles had enough, even though they had more than enough time. I'm just not
right.
buying Jalen Hurts as a guy who's going to bring the team back to win a game like that. So
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize, and Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl, and he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. But his success is completely dictated on how they run the ball, right? So he throws the deep ball very well. If you can run the ball effectively, and 7 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, whatever, all that stuff. If you play action pass, you're going to get one-on-one, and so that's what you get. But
right,
as a pocket passer, it's not close. Like people are like, "Oh, who's better, Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts?" I'm like, "Dude, do you watch football? Because it's not close. It's not.
right.
You know."
No, I
So
mean,
I mean,
yeah, I feel like okay, so we've kind of beaten this game to a pulp. What's your prediction? What's your score? Give it to me straight. Don't waver.
I
You
think the
know.
Niners win 26-23. That's what I think.
Okay. Kind of a
I
funky
think it's good.
score.
Yeah, but everyone, because of how we've played the last 2 games, the idea is betting wants the public to take one side, and then the actuality of it is always the other side. So that's why I think they made the spread 45, because if you were a normal bettor, you would take the under, right? Oh, it looks like it's going to be an under game. And that's exactly the reason why I think it's going to be an over game. So,
Right.
I don't see the Niners scoring 3 points. I don't see the Niners scoring 13 points. I think it's going to be in the 20s, probably, 24, 27, 26, 23, something like that. I think Seattle is going to score points, and I think we are too. And so
There you go.
I'm banking on Sam Darnold turning the ball over. That's what I think.
There you go. I got I'm going to go Niners 27-20. I think there's field
Yeah, I
goals
like it.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I just, like you said, I don't think you can keep, a game like this, if you're scoring, early, you get both teams that say score early. I think that dictates kind of like a little bit more scoring than they've shown in the other games that they've played. So,
sure,
like you said, I think there's, I don't know about the over under. I think it's going to be like they always do it. They get it so close.
sure.
But I think they're going to be right around it. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good one. I like I said, I'm predicting a classic. Like it's just going to be a slugfest that, like, like you talk about it for a while. Not just this season, but in the future. I don't know, something about, I don't know
Can
what
you?
it's going to be that's going to do that, but it's going to
We
be
have we haven't talked about this.
unreal.
Can you give me your thoughts on who you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
I have a sneaky pick, and
It's Houston. It's Houston. It's
you,
Houston.
you're right. You're right. I don't want to hear about what their problems are, but I'm always good with sneaky good defenses in the playoffs.
Oh, their
Just
defense is so
you
good, dude.
And when I say sneaky, like nobody talks about them, even though people know that they're good.
Yeah.
But
Daniil Hunter, Will, what's his name from Alabama? I mean, they're nasty, dude. Great corners.
Will Anderson, yeah.
Yeah, Will Anderson. Oh my God, they're so good. That's
No,
gonna be that's probably the least sexy of all the games. But if you look at it from like a football standpoint, might be the best game. Is
right.
the 12 o'clock game on Sunday. Um, do you choose good defense over second-year quarterback? Right? I mean, kudos to the Patriots and Mike Vrabel, what they've done. But this defense is real. Like it is really. If you watch the game on Monday night, and it was not a good ending for Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. But if you just watch the way the defense played, like good luck. They are so good. It's crazy.
Right.
They're good on like if you watch all the phases of their defense, they can play man if you want to play man. They're good in the like in the secondary with their linebackers and all that stuff. Man, they just paid what's his name? Oh, he's a really good corner. Oh, I forget his name. Anyway, nobody throws the ball at him, and he's so good.
Right.
Like, can they go into New England and just do their thing? I think it might happen. Like they're scary good on defense. They're just so good on defense. It's crazy to me. And so I kind of sort of thought you might go that way.
I feel like
I don't have the winner of that game. I don't have the winner of that game going to the Super Bowl anyway. But that's the game that I like will watch the most. Like, oh my word, these guys absolutely get after it.
right. I feel like any team that's like um, like that's like them. Kind of reminds me of like the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yeah,
Who
it's
were
exactly.
terrible on offense
Yep.
and
Trent
just
Dilfer.
yes, and nobody scored on them. And anytime you have a sneaky team like that, now they're not as good as those guys for sure, but if you bring your lunch pail defense to the playoffs, you know, I think you're tough because if your
It plays.
offense has
Yeah,
enough,
it plays. It plays.
yeah, for sure. So anyway, moving on from football. I mean, I do. Maybe we'll come back to the college. Remember, we got that. Believe it or not, college football still is happening. That's
Yep.
wild. That I think
Monday
the
at
season's way
Monday
too
at
long.
5 o'clock. Yep.
I'd like to see briefly. I'd like to see Indiana win that. I like the Miami story for sure. They've been playing out of their mind, but I like to see Indiana just roll in the sense of just because of their season's been unbelievable up to this point.
Yeah,
So
it's the tale of good offense versus good defense, right? I mean, one of them is going to have to, one of them is going to prevail. So we'll see. You know.
yeah. Um, as you know, um, and I've posted this on the pre-pod social media and all this other stuff that I have returned to the diamond to coach baseball, and it's been 13 years since I've coached, and it's interesting because I'm going to be the JV manager, and what I like about what's happening right now is we have a baseball PE class, and it's the last period of the day, and the JV and varsity are practicing or working whatever together. So I'm learning how they do things at Granite Bay High School. That's where I'll be coaching, and it's been really good to kind of see how we do things, and then also watch the players, learn their names, all the things that you get by being out there every day. So I kind of
Sure.
feel like getting back into it is going, and I haven't really had to coach like be the one that says a lot. I'm kind of more there watching and coaching a little bit here, almost like just an assistant coach on the varsity, helping here and there, whatever. And that's been perfect because, when we end up splitting up, JV and varsity splitting, um, I'll have a really good idea of one, how the program runs things, how, because you're going to want to run the similar stuff the varsity does. But two, I'll know the players a lot better. And three, then I could start adding my flavor, so to speak, to how we're going to do things. So I've enjoyed being back. I love the fact that we are practicing during school. So, school gets out, we go like maybe another 45 minutes. And so I'm not getting home at, midnight every night. I'm getting home at a decent hour, even with a long drive. And so far it's been fun. And I'm just starting to get those feels of coaching baseball back. And it was interesting. Kid asked me a couple days ago in my photography class, was it? No, it was a PE class. He goes, "Do you like coaching football or baseball better?" And I hadn't been asked that in a while. And my answer was kind of a cop out because I said I like the baseball piece of the strategy. You watch people watch baseball and it's quote unquote boring to them, but pretty much every pitch there's something going on, the game within the game, the
Right.
tons of games within the game.
Game within the game.
I like
Yeah.
that, and then I you get that a little bit in football, but I like the violence in football. I like the physicality. I like the fact that you've got to exert more, and it's just a more energy game all the time, and so there's obviously vast differences in the sports, but they're both fun in their own way. So I didn't really answer the question for the kid because I kind of said both because it's true. I don't know. I think if you ask anybody who coaches both, you'd probably get the same answer. Otherwise, they wouldn't be. They'd pick one and not coach the other. You know what I mean? So, anyway,
Sure.
just thought I'd let everybody know that I'm back in. I think it's so for high school coaching. I coached you guys. I coached Cruiser's team. That was, how crazy this is going to sound.
90,
That was like
90,
28 years
99.
ago. 98 season. Don't forget, it was the spring, or was it 99? No, it was the spring of
Yes.
99. That's right.
Yeah.
Spring of 99. So 27, I don't know, whatever the math is. Um, and then when I moved up this way and started teaching and coaching Nevada Union. I coached 2 years on the varsity staff there, and then I coached 2 more seasons at the JV level at Nevada Union. Some 10 years after that, and so I've got 5 years officially of, like, I guess you want to call it, like, head coach manager experience there. Not to mention all the little league that I did, and I did do some assistant coaching in my early 20s as well. But I'll count that, but it wasn't as I wasn't as deep into everything as I became as the years went on. So I've always, I don't know if I've always wanted to get back into baseball. I think I needed to find the right spot, and it feels good because our varsity staff has like 6 or 7 coaches that all seem to know what they're doing, and being at a school that has a bunch of equipment and kind of unlimited resources for baseball, it's refreshing to kind of see how we do things. And in all the years I've coached in the past, I always felt like it was like me and another coach, or being by myself
Right.
and
Sure.
having to do everything. And I could handle that again if I had to, but it's not nice. It's nice not having to do that. I'm going to end up having 2 coaches help me, and then the freshman team even has 3 coaches as well. So there's really like some 13 or so, baseball people coaching these kids. So we got it wrapped up pretty good, and so it's been fun so far. It's going to end up heating up really in about 2 weeks, but next week will be good. And then we have a tryout week officially, and then that's the end of January, and games like scrimmages and start early February. So it's crazy how fast all that's going to show up, and hopefully as we
Yeah. I
pod,
mean,
I'll keep you
it's
posted.
nice. Well, well, yeah. Well, it's cool because football is as beautiful as it is, uh, and coaching it for as long as you've done it. Baseball is just kind of sort of different. I don't know how to really to explain it to everyone. Baseball is just a different animal. It's a lot slower pace sometimes. It's methodical, and I'm super pumped that you're getting back into it. That way, you can talk to me in that world, which is more of my world, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
watch football. I love football. I know football very well, but my number one sport's baseball. Obviously, everybody that listens to us knows that. And so
No,
I'm super excited for you. Like, I think it's really cool.
no, I feel like what I like doing is tapping back into my experiences. I feel like a lot of that feeling of the year that I coached you guys is already coming back in the sense of just how to relate to kids, basing
Sure.
on their talent that they have, their attitude that I'm seeing so far, some good, some bad, some medium already, not, and really not bad, just kind of indifferent, like how I'm going to handle that. And how I handled you guys, is it a lot different than that? I think so, but also not. It's very subtle, and I'm not even talking about like I don't claim to be all knowing in baseball. I know enough, but I'm also smart enough to know that if Josh Cruiser's hitting the ball 500 feet, I'm not going to go in there and change how he's hitting, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's something like an ego thing that people feel like they've got to say something to people all the time instead of like let it be. And
No,
maybe,
you're sort of. I think where you benefit and where you're good at is you're like a leader of men, right? Like no matter what sport you're coaching, is to get people to buy into what you're saying, and I think that's the biggest challenge. And I think that's probably what your best quality is, and I think it's going to work out fine. Um, Baseball is a little different than football, but
you know,
getting them to buy into what you're saying is super important, very important.
yeah,
And even if you could be, it's like you always say like, you could be selling shit as a shit salesman, right?
right,
But if they believe if they believe what you're saying, then you win, right?
right.
So that's sort of the idea.
Well, and I
I
feel
don't think
like,
you're not that you are the most optimal baseball mind in the world, but you know enough, and I
oh
think that's
no,
important.
I feel like my strengths are like details of things. I've never felt like it'd be hard for me to teach a person how to hit. I'll just use batting as like from scratch. Pick up a bat, never played the sport before. I can get you there, but to be, I think there's so much to like swinging a bat besides the actual swing, right? You got to start thinking about the count and how to work the pitcher, and I think over the years I've gotten better at that stuff. Will I,
Mm-hmm.
like if you could make contact and you're doing a good job there, I could help you with like understanding what's happening with the pitcher and what's happening with the other team and what they're trying to do to you and those kind of things. Um,
Sure.
and same thing defensively, all that stuff. But I feel like that's where baseball's really fun in a sense because especially I'd like it to be our pitcher, but if you got a pitcher that's shoving it on your team, it's like sometimes there's just nothing you could do. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's weird because it's like you have this great team or whatever, and like one guy shuts you down, and in a way that's the beauty of baseball because usually you're playing the next day or high school, it's a couple days later, and you can wash that stuff out and get back to it. And so those are the kind of things that I'm looking forward to. Getting, I feel like we've got this mode of already being in the practice mode, and so by the time we're definitely not ready yet because we really haven't formed our team yet.
Sure.
But they should be once we all get together. I feel like we're going to have the advantage of having these extra practices just because I said like we have the class to do it in. So um, yeah, no, I think it's going to be fun. Shout out to the Granite Bay High School baseball team and program. It's been fun so far, and thanks for having me. And yeah, it's going to be good. I think we're going to be
Yeah, I mean, it's
pretty
nice to
good.
get your feet nice to get your feet back wet with other stuff, right? Besides football, right? So,
Yeah. Well, and I felt like I say this a lot to people who are like have been coaching lifers or they barely taken any time off, even if they're one sport guys. Um, it's like they don't stop coaching because they're not quite sure what they would do with them, with their time. I'm like, oh man, believe me, because I've had these stretches of time in between coaching baseball. Like life is life. Your time fills it in, and you're doing good things outside of coaching.
yeah, the
Um,
idea is if you get people to buy into what you're saying, whether it's good, bad, and different, if you get like them to buy in to what you're saying, you're winning. And so baseball is sort of that way. Um, and I think I'm super pumped for you because we're obviously very close to see you in that realm because it's so different than what you're used to. But at the same token, like you're gonna be fine, dude. Like it's sports and it's people, and that's
Right.
where you excel. You know what I mean? Like that's what you're good at. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what sport you could coach soccer, right?
Right.
Uh, and that's
Well,
what you're.
I'm hoping to get the mileage out of these kids. Like my biggest thing, and I haven't talked to them individually as a team, yet, but like, let's get your max potential at the moment you're at right now. It's JV
Sure.
baseball. The biggest thing we could do, the most expensive thing we have is winning a league championship. We don't go to the
Sure.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we do that? And to me, it takes the little things, and it takes the stuff I put you guys through, just some discipline and doing things the right way. And so I'm excited for that. I'm excited to be back. It took me a week or so. I didn't know exactly when we were going to start, and the varsity head coach, a couple days before our Christmas break ended, he's like, "Yeah, we're going Monday," or it was a Tuesday. We're going on Tuesday, and I'm like, "Oh, I guess I need to get some baseball stuff." So, of course, I spent a bunch of money. I got a couple new pair of like baseball pants because I hadn't had those in several years. I don't have a glove. I can't find any glove. My fungo that I used for your team some 30 years ago, I still use that thing. I retaped that sucker up, and
Yeah.
finally got some hats and some other things. So I'm piecing together my baseball fit. So again, every time, all that time that I'm doing that, it just feels good to be back doing that stuff, and hitting fungo has been awful. I thought I was pretty good when I was doing it all the time, and man, it's the wear and tear, and not having done it in so long is definitely showing up. And I'm not hitting fungo a lot right now, and that's part of the problem. I got to get back to a routine and start slinging that lumber all over the place and start looking. I mean, I remember hitting pop-ups to the catchers pretty easily, and now I can't even hit a ground ball to the first baseman. So
Right.
we'll fix
Yeah.
that.
That stuff kind of comes.
Yeah.
Um, Being a good fungo hitter is so. Oh man, it's like one of those for me. Being a golfer and all that kind of stuff. When I get I still have my fungo that I've used for eons, like 15 years, and it's one of those things like it's a hand-eye coordination kind of thing, and I'm still pretty good at it, and
Right.
so I like to hit a fungo here and there. Just it makes you feel good. I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know.
I need to get back. Yeah, it's like a golf swing. You hit a good ball. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be back. I'm excited that they, wanted me to come out and join their team. I mean, they not last year, but the 3 previous years before, the varsity team won the Division 1 section title. So, it's a good program. I'm just trying to add a little flavor to it and make it be a little bit better. So
Yeah,
anyway,
of course.
we're uh
It's it's
we're
about
over
it's about
time.
it's about being leader of men, and you're very good at that. So I know for a fact you're going to succeed, and you have me as your outlier if you need a question
Oh,
that will
for
help
sure.
you
I'm gonna
in your
hit up
base.
everybody, all you
Yeah, of
guys,
course.
and we'll be
Yeah,
talking about it, and we'll update on the pod as we move through the season and all that stuff. So, Cruz, we're gonna get off the pod tonight because we're gonna see each other in about, I don't know, what is it? Not less than 24 hours. That's for damn sure. So
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
anyway,
do a little laundry, shave, pack the bags,
look
and then
presentable.
yeah, I'll try to look presentable for you tomorrow, and yeah, we'll be in Reno watching the Bills game first, and then watching the Niner game at 5 o'clock, and hopefully what we talked about is somewhat true. And we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you guys next week or two. And
well, I think I'm gonna. If you and I like are sitting there, we might try and do some mobile. Maybe do just a quick live stream from wherever we are, just to see if it all works. I don't. I've always been in my home office, but I think I could pull this off on my phone. I don't know. We'll try it and just see. Especially if the Niners pull it off, we might have to do a little celebratory pod.
I'm super excited about tomorrow for a lot of reasons, and I'm super looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow afternoon. I get in at 1:30, and so we'll be hanging out from 2 p.m., which is the second quarter of the first game, and then we'll continue on to the night game at 5 o'clock. And I'm super pumped. I can't wait. And we'll go from there, man.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see you. And for you listeners out there, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the like and all that good stuff on YouTube. Follow us on X, also on Instagram at Coach and Kreuz. For Kreuz, I'm Coach. Cruiser, we're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, man. See you soon.
Bye.